For more on the story and the implications, we're joined by international relations expert Dr. Emmanuel Navon. Good morning, and thank you. As always, lovely to have you here in the studio. Talk us through, firstly, what has emerged now, these new allegations, the link between these two men. How credible do you see this latest report?
Well, first of all, Ehud Barack himself hasn't denied that he's been in business with Jeffrey Epstein, and that part of his investments together with Epstein took place after Epstein was convicted. And so there's no denial about the facts. As a matter of fact, Barack himself has instructed his lawyers to check whether or not it's possible for him to pull his investments out of Epstein's companies. So there's no denial of the facts. And as I said, the very fact that those investments took place after Epstein was convicted is really what is worrying, and which might very much affect also Barack's chances, electoral chances in the upcoming elections.
Which is the obvious next question, because when you make a political comeback, one would imagine one doesn't want to have links with a convicted sex offender. Talk us through the implications politically for Ehud Barack if he doesn't distance himself properly from this case.
Well, we have to understand that one of the reasons why Barack is running, and one of his tickets, is to run against Netanyahu because of the charges against Netanyahu. So a kind of anti-corruption ticket. How can you do that and be credible when you yourself have all these issues, especially this investments with Epstein? So it really definitely affects Barack's credibility to run on a anti-corruption ticket when he himself is invested, according to those reports, invested in the company of a convicted sex offender. So that definitely makes his campaign not credible at all, at least on the issue of corruption.
We obviously saw as well Donald Trump in recent days distancing himself from Jeffrey Epstein as well. Talk us through, in your opinion, does the Israeli voter actually care about links like this?
I think so, and I think that mostly when it comes to a convicted sex offender, it's something that most voters, I mean, don't forget that Barack is running on a left-wing ticket, so he wants voters from the left to vote for him. Most left-wing voters in Israel, most liberal voters, actually care a lot about those issues and wouldn't forgive Barack for that, as I said. And I think it's also the reason why Barack has changed his tone. I mean, 2 days ago he said, well, there's no problem, you know, it's just an investment, I have nothing to do with this guy. And then he realized that people weren't buying that. So he said, well, I've instructed my lawyers to look into pulling out my investment from Epstein. So he understands that his core voters are really very uncomfortable with those revelations, and that, yes, it would definitely affect his chances of gathering enough votes to pass the threshold of the Knesset of 325%.
And of course, with Israelis going to the polls again in September, we saw with the last election in April, scandals, allegations and mudslinging. Would you expect to see more of the same in the coming weeks with all politicians?
Yes, I mean, unfortunately, even the previous elections were less about issues and more about allegations, and as you said, accusations of politicians about those or these allegations. So I would expect, unfortunately, more of this in the coming 2 months until the election, and that's unfortunate, because I wish we had more debates about actual issues. There are many issues to debate. Many challenges facing this country, but unfortunately, I guess also it's one of the side effects of on the social media, that people care more about those issues and about the real issues facing the country.
Well, as always, we appreciate your insight on this very story. International relations expert Dr. Emmanuel